Welcome back from that break. We apologize that the break is a little long just because we need to put in one or two technical issue in place to serve you better. Now we're going to the first discussion for the day, and my guest is already joining me via the telephone. We're talking about party politics this morning, and of course, examining and x-raying the political practice in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, so many things are happening from the quiet. All right. We're looking at party politics right here. You know, most of the things that a lot of people talk about when you want to talk about political party is the issue of ideology. A lot of people will tell you political practice in Nigeria that does not take the average Nigerian into consideration. What's your thought about that? Oh, okay, I said the issue of ideology in Nigeria. You know, a lot of people will tell you political parties in Nigeria don't have ideologies, and even if they have ideology, is different.
Yeah, I think political parties they actually have ideologies. Some of the ideologies are mostly unwritten ideology, and one common ideology among them is just come to cake. So nobody has any ideology about how to bake the cake that we share, but we most of us have most of the political parties. The ideology is about how to come together, gang up, and then grab power for the purpose of sharing the national cake. And that is one of the major problems that the Nigerian political system is having, because he has gotten to a point that every now and then is either a merger or a coalition with the purpose of just grabbing power. And then we at this time we need to get convinced by some of the people who are coaliting, so that we know what they actually want to do, whether it's the same old or they just want some individual just want to do coalition, use the ladder to grab power, irrespective of the what the person who is coming to take over the government will be doing. Because it is not as simple as saying, okay, let us come together. And that is where the problem is. Nigeria is a country where you have a lot of people who, because they lost out in some political arrangements in wherever they are, they will jump gun to another place, another political party, and that's how they keep roaming around political parties from one political party to the other, under the guise of there is a crisis in my party, or under the one guys or the other. So these are the challenges we are facing with our political parties, and that's why it is easy for anybody in politics who have been elected under any political party to jump ship. It's as simple as ABC. They are not just there for anybody. They are just there for themselves, and that's why it's simple and easy for them to continue to jump ship.
All right. Thank you, comrade. Now, you just talked about coalition while you were speaking. Now, let's look at the coalition. A lot of people are saying this coalition, they've not really seen their primary goal. Everything you are hearing is they want to offseat the now president in the person of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, challenging his administration in 2027 is what Nigerians are hearing. But what do you think is the primary goal of the opposition coalition seeking to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election?
Really, I may not know actually what is their clear goal, but what I may say is that I would like to advise them that if the if the primary goal is just about taking over power, I think it is a misplaced priority. We should be looking at that's why Nigerians should before we can agree and accept anything that is coming from the coalition, they have to convince us that they are actually for the people and not for themselves, and coming together just to ensure that they have access to our commonwealth, to share among themselves. So we should be thinking about how to produce in this country, not how we are going to share. Baking of the cake is more important than the sharing of the cake, because if you don't bake the cake, there will be nothing to share. So we should be thinking about how we are going to continue to bake a cake that we can share. Enough of dependence on oil, and these are some of the issues we want them to clearly tell us how they are going to go about it. Nigeria is a country where people are dying of hunger, irrespective of the fact that we have arable lands everywhere. There's no part of this country that does not have one special thing they are producing from the in the
All right. Thank you very
because
much.
the processing.
Oh, okay. Well, that is our guest right there. But then, so many things are happening from the polity, and of course, the coalition is taking the center stage. I'm coming back to you, comrade. I'm still going to be throwing you another question, but before then, let's look at some of the major issues right here. And one of the issues that a lot of Nigerians are always talking about is the issue of recycling. But then every Nigerian have a different opinion as it has to do with the issue of recycling. Because if you look at the coalition, we actually talked about that. If you look at the coalition, the first thing that you will see there is group of politicians coming together, people that have been in power before. And of course, Nigerians are saying, well, when it comes to internal differences, how would they manage the internal differences? Because everyone in that coalition have their reason of joining the coalition, and these reasons must be serviced. These reasons, okay, must be nurtured and meant to see the light of day by the people who are forming this coalition, apart from the collective ideology that they may have. Don't you think these differences, internal differences, individual differences, might result to something else when it comes to the coalition?
You see, let me tell you, they don't differ on things that has to do with the ordinary citizens. They don't differ on governance. They don't differ on anything that has to do with how to make Nigeria work. They only differ on when their sharing formula is not agreed upon. So they will always come together at their convenient time. You remember when APC merger was coming up, the belief was that how can all these strange bedfellows come together and at the end of the day succeed in forming a merger? We saw it; they succeeded in forming a merger because they had a plan, and when they saw the person whom they knew that the ordinary citizens wanted, and they picked him up and made him the presidential candidate, and people jumped the ship and said, oh, this is the right place to go. And at the end of the day, that we had for 8 years was the sharing of the national cake, and nobody had thought about producing anything. This morning, I had during the morning, during the time that you were, going on about the newspaper review, you see how but not just only Ajokuta, but even the NNPC refineries, just money just went down the drain under the last administration. And most times when we talk about it, they say, oh, we hated Buhari, we hated Buhari. It's not about hating anybody. The same scenario is what is going on now. When you talk about what this administration is doing, is not doing well, they will tell you that you hate President Tinubu. No, it's not like that. You see, when we were investing in a dead refineries cannot work in this way, and that was why when they wanted to, Dangote went to build his own refinery, wanted to buy those refineries, but I'm sure he must have seen that the carcass is not something he would buy before he decided to go and build his own. So, but we continued. We know some of these people knew that this, but they continued, appropriating money for those refineries, and at the end of the day, money had gone down the drain, and they told us that those refineries are working, and up to today, nobody is facing any consequence for that kind of national deceit. So these are the kind of things we're talking about. So all these coalition people and everybody, they will always come together to agree. They will come to agree because they have a common goal, and their common goal is always about how they are going to share the national cake, and that is all they do. If it is anything else, I don't think if it's about governance, it will be difficult for you to have some certain individuals come together under one platform and say they are forming a political group.
All right. One of the things that a lot of Nigerians are even talking about right now is that APC is not having the kind of opposition that they really need. Then this morning, ADC, according to what Atiku said, ADC are saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to account for the loans that has been taken. So, formally, before now, all eyes were on PDP as the major opposition, but ADC have started talking. Are we now trying to say the All Progressive Congress will now have a run for their money as it has to do with a strong opposition?
I think just mere newspaper, mere press releases is not because somebody is talking. That does not amount to a strong opposition anywhere. You see, the problem with Nigerian politicians is that they deceive them a lot. Didn't they see when ACN and the major coalition members were in opposition? Didn't they see them on the street marching? Didn't they see them protesting? Didn't they see them empowering civil society all around the place? So we see, let them continue to deceive themselves and continue to talk. At the end of the day, they will say they have a strong opposition. Speaking from one place and sending press releases is not a strong opposition anywhere. So if you want to do an opposition political run as an opposition, you should do that constructively and firmly, not just be making statements. Is that how to do opposition? Anybody can sit wherever he is and talk. So if you want to be an opposition, come down to meet the people, come down to see the people, come down to where the people are, and then let's see what is wrong with the opposition organizing town hall meetings around the country. Is there anything wrong with that? Meet the people, know what they are feeling. You can't sit down one place and be telling us that you are an opposition. The opposition is not a title. And nobody should, confuse us with that title of a strong opposition. That is not how opposition political parties run anywhere in the world.
Do you see zoning? Because if you remember, one of the problems that PDP had was the issue of zoning, and that was what resulted to the factions that we had and the majority of the problems in the People's Democratic Party. Then even in APC, during the 2023 election, there were a lot of issues with zoning, even who to become running mate and all of that. So we have seen in time past that, well, zoning and of course taking over major political offices have caused problem. When APC were trying to pick their national chairman, you see the kind of consultations that went on, up to the extent that the next meeting had to take place at the presidential villa. And that's to tell you of how important the place of key office holders is in all political parties. Now let's come down to oppositions and of course the ADC, which is fronting itself right now as a major opposition with big names in that party. Now, do you think zoning will be an issue in ADC, especially as it has to do with presidential ticket? Remember, we have David Mark there, we have Arebe Shola there, we have Amechi right there, we have El Rufai right there, and of course speculations around the fact that Peter Obi is part of the coalition, even though he has not resigned from the Labour Party. So now, do you think the issue of zoning or who to field as the presidential, who to give the presidential ticket in 2027 will be a problem for the All African Democratic Congress?
You see, the truth of it is that, when APC, for instance, came on board, they tried to play the ostrich by saying that doing any form of zoning. In fact, that was the reason why the Senate, because there was a meeting they said was held at the time that they agreed on which zone should produce the president of the Senate at the time, and it was said that Bukola Saraki actually had his aide tweeted the outcome of the meeting, and as we heard that some people within the party kicked against it, and then that was how said we don't have zoning, we are not doing zoning, and then that was how Bukola Saraki apologized, and at the end of the day he emerged the president of the Senate in court with the PDP that produced him and produced a PDP person as the deputy president of the Senate. You see, these are some of the deceit that we try to put into politics. There's no way you can come in a multi-cultural, multi-ethnic, multinational country like Nigeria, and you say you cannot do zoning, and that is the reason why PDP actually lost the 2023 election, because if they had microzoned their ticket to a particular place in the south, they would have won the election, but they started playing the ostrich, and at the end of the day they lost the election because their camp were divided into several camps. So that is what we are talking about, and I think both APC, ADC and all of them, they are learning their lessons from the past, because ADC got their chairman from the North Central, and they got their and that is a good positioning already. They have opened up both the north and the southeast for something else. So, and that is what we are talking about. You see, when they come, they can decide to zone the president of the Senate to another part of the country, and then zone the speakership to another part of the country. That's how power is distributed in a country of this nature. But when people want to they want to try to get whatever they wanted, they will say no, we don't want zoning, because they believe that when they talk about zoning, it reduces their chances of getting to power, and it does not work that way. Because when you lose, everybody loses, and at the end of the day, the country will continue to be in the hands of the individuals that cannot manage the economy, and that is why some of them are learning. Even the APC itself is now learning. He had to return their national party chairmanship to the North Central, where actually is supposed to be. The same thing with PDP. PDP is supposed to produce the successor of the national chairman from the North Central, but they did themselves whatever. I don't know what they did to themselves. They continued to play against the rule, and at the end of the day, they will continue to lose. But I think that all of them are coming back to do the same thing when they come to their national convention that they are planning. Whether it holds or not, I don't know. But the truth is that if any political party says that they cannot do zoning, whether it's written in the constitution or not, forget it. You can't get it, because zoning is entrenched in the psyche of the ordinary Nigerians, and where the president come today is the South. And if you say you want to run for president in 2023 and you are from any other place, not the South, you will still have the Nigerian voters to grind with. So the time will come that the Nigerian voters will speak, because you can. Why Jonathan was defeated in 2015 was because of this zoning issue. Because they said, oh, you finish the tenure of late Yar'Adua, and you did one term. Yes, we can allow that, but you cannot do a second term. So, and because you altered the zoning, and that was how the North produced the president. And today, a Southerner is in power, and if you say you want to contest outside of the South, I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, comrade. Comrade is still talking to us because the issue of zoning is very important. We know the kind of problem it has caused in the past, and of course, you can't take that away. Comrade, are you there? Hello, comrade. All right. Now, the issue of zoning, because now you can see the spread. When we're talking about zoning, we're not just referring to the coalition. Almost all the parties have had their own share of one problem or the other, no matter how big or small it is, as it has to do with the issue of zoning. It is now my turn, or it is now the turn of my region, and all of that. But then, let's go to a quick break. After this break, we'll return and the conversation will continue. Stay with us.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right. Thank you very much, comrade, for staying with us and all our viewers out there. It's still Global Morning, and we're looking at party politics, and of course, we're looking at matters arising from the different political parties in Nigeria. All right, comrade, thank you for staying with us. All right, comrade, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Yes, a little bit of a network problem. You know, this is Nigeria, so sometimes you can't completely run away from it. All right, we are looking at matters arising from political parties in Nigeria. We've talked so much about the ADC, the APC, and the rest. Labour Party, you know, a lot of people have been saying so many things about the Labour Party. Peter Obi rubbing shoulder or rubbing mind, having meetings with ADC and still in Labour Party. But Labour Party chieftain, one of their former youth leader, told me on our program here that Peter Obi has not defected, that what is going on is still consultations. What do you think? Are you foreseeing Peter Obi joining the coalition, or he's already part of it? Why do you say so?
Anybody can join the coalition. It depends on what is in it for me. Before I can join any person for anything, before I can say I am working with you, I should know exactly what is in it for me. So, and then it depends also on the interest of the individual politician. Are you joining the coalition because of yourself, or are you joining the coalition because of the Nigerian people? And these are some of the issues that determine whether someone will join or not. But there's nothing wrong in joining a coalition ahead of the 2027 general elections. And then on the other hand, the Labour Party itself is a party that is in self-inflicted crisis, and it is all about the politics of what should I get and what should I not get, because somebody's tenure expired and he refuses to leave office, even despite a Supreme Court judgment, is still in the office. So these are some of the issues. It has never happened anywhere in the world that your tenure will be exhausted and you decide to remain in office. And then even when you claim the court order, put you in office, the court order was vacated by the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court. Yet you are still sitting there and claiming to be the national leader of the party. I don't think that happens anywhere in the world. It's only in Nigeria that you can find that kind of anomaly taking place.
All right. Hello.
Yes, I'm with you.
Oh, okay. Now, we just talked about the Labour Party. There are other parties in Nigeria that we are not even hearing about. Some of them don't even appear on the ballot on the days of election. I don't know. Don't you think having a lot of political parties? The reason why I'm saying this is because there is a push for about 100 and something political parties to be registered right now, and even the coalition are also having a plan B, planning to register a party called ADA. What do you think? Like Showore's party, for instance, that party has been there for a very long time, and the party is still there, and they are still pushing for their own ideology and waiting until the day Showore will emerge as maybe the president of this country and all of that. Then you also bring INEC into the whole thing. Now, looking at the political parties in Nigeria, do you think there is need for the registration of more political parties?
You see, the problem is not about registering political parties or not registering political parties. It's part of the political, the freedom of association, to allow people to register as many political parties as they want. In a democracy, it erodes the principle of democracy to restrict the number of political parties. The only thing we should be doing is that the electoral umpires should find a way to regulate how political parties are formed. Even this idea of deregistering political party is anti-democratic. You cannot deregister a political party because of any reason. The only thing is that if they are become they don't have a candidate. They don't have a candidate. If they don't have supporters, they don't have supporters. After all, the country is no longer funding political parties. If it were in those days that INEC was funding political parties, that when you can say, okay, we can't fund you because you don't have an elected office holder that for that reason we cannot fund you. But you are not funding political parties and you are deregistering them. That is anti-democratic, and it's not a welcome development. The more political parties we have, the better for democracy, so that people can have multiple choices to make at elections. And then some of the political parties, why they are just there is because some of their leadership, they don't actually understand what a political party is for. Because most times they see political party as just a place, so let's just have an association of people, and we stay here, and here we are until probably one day an opportunity will come. Someone will decamp from one place and come and join us. So they don't actually do grassroots mobilization. They don't do any form of work that will make them be accepted by the people. There are some political parties that if you call their name, somebody will ask you, is that a political party? And that is the problem we have with the Nigerian political system, that people don't actually do what they are supposed to do as leaders of political party. Mobilize the people, sensitize the people, go to the grassroots, talk to the people, and seek membership. And these are some of the things that is causing problem within the polity, because we have limited choices. If it's not APC, it's not PDP. If not, and now that we have had a Labour Party and the ADC coming up, nobody will be talking about APC and PDP all this while. So that is how it is.
All right, comrade, this is the much time will allow us. At least we've come to know that all political parties in Nigeria have ideology, and of course, everyone is working towards 2027. And it's so good to know that it's anti-democracy if a political party is refused being registered, according to my guest. Thank you very much for joining us, Comrade James Ezema.
Thank you very much for having me this morning.
All right, thank you so much. Well, as a matter of fact, this is going to be the size of the first discussion. The second discussion is coming up after this break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
President meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning, and this is the second discuss of the day. We're going to be delving into state representatives pushing for autonomy and, of course, exploring the possibilities of the creation of new states driven by concerns over federal overreach and need for more localized government. Now, this movement is reflected in various ways, and I am being joined by Dr. Moses Saleh. He is a security and of course, political analyst. He'll be joining me and we'll be talking about the state representatives and the push for autonomy and, of course, creation of new states. All right. Good morning, Dr. Moses. Are you here?
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Moses. It's great to have you on the program.
Good morning.
All right. Let's quickly go on a very quick break.
Thank you. Thank you for
the second discuss continues shortly. All right, like I said, you're welcome back to the second discuss of the day. And I'm not doing it alone. I have Dr. Moses Saleh. He is a security and political analyst. All right, good morning, Dr. Moses.
Morning.
All right, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Thank you so. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for being a part of Global Morning. Talking about state representatives are pushing for autonomy and exploring possibilities of creating a new state. Can you delve into that a bit for us so we can have like a background of what this constitutional review is all about?
Thank you for that question. You know, the agitation for state creation in Nigeria is not something new. It has been on for more than 2 decades now, especially since we returned back to democratic rule in 1999. You know, there are groups within the country, ethnic nationalities that have been agitating, you know, asking for their own states. And one of the push factors is because of where they are not fairly treated, the issue of marginalization and all that, exclusion and all that. These are the things fueling this agitation. So state creation in Nigeria is not something new. And in this phase of constitutional review, you know, groups and people of that who have been going through that kind of oppression and marginalization will definitely come forward asking for, you know, for their own state so that they can have a political space where they can exercise themselves and develop themselves the way they want. You know, it's not a new thing in Nigeria.
when you look at this issue at hand, what are the primary motivations behind state representatives pushing for autonomy and creation of new states?
Like I just mentioned now, I said the issue of marginalization, issue of exclusion. There are places where the dominant group or the dominant ethnic group, marginalizes those ones that are not as strong as them in terms of appointment, in terms of all kind of. For instance, now in Benue State, incidentally, that is where I hail from. I'm from Benue. Since the creation of Benue State in 1976, since the creation of Benue State, it's only the thieves that have been governor, and there are other groups like the Idomas, they are there. They've never been a governor. In fact, and that is what is, fueling the agitation for the creation of a party. Because when you are in a state and you can never aspire to the highest office, irrespective of who you of your competence, your capacity, and all that, it's not the right thing. Everybody should be able to aspire, but because the Idomas are not as populated as the chief, they take their numeric advantage to as that kind of scenario exists. People will definitely agitate, ask for their own state, so that they can be able to, govern themselves and be able to contribute meaningfully in terms of development and all kind of things that they want to see within their environment. So these are the things that I think are responsible for the agitation for the creation of new states.
Autonomy impact.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Now, how might the increased state autonomy impact federal-state relations and, of course, the balance of power?
Actually, you see, the issue of autonomy is also one of the things that the states have been asking for. If you look at our constitution, our constitution is broken into lists. We have the exclusive list, and if you look at the exclusive list, where the federal government alone has the power to exercise the power on that list, it's humongous, it's too bogus, and that is why the federal government is given to. We are a federal state, and in every federation, decentralization is one of the major principles of federalism. Power must be decentralized to other units, other subgroups or subunits of this federation, so that they can be able to, make meaningful contribution to the governance and the development of the country. But in our case, the list that we have, the exclusive list, is over bloated in such a way that the federal government is the only one that has the power to do so many things, and because of limited resources in terms of human resources and also other economic resources, the federal government cannot do all alone. For instance, if you look at the issue of policing, federal police everywhere, and if you look at our security problem in the country, is lack of effective policing. And is that policing, as long as the constitution as we operate is under the exclusive list, which the federal government alone has the power to handle. So states are asking for all those things because they know that if they are given the opportunity to operate in such spaces, it will bring meaningful contribution to the development of the country and to the security of the country, and also give states enough leverage to be able to to exercise certain things that they have been restricted from as it is right now. So autonomy, in my own case, in my own view, is not something that is new or something that is abnormal, but it is something that we should look at it critically and see how we can be able to strategically delegate some responsibilities to the subunit, so that they can bring about job creation, meaningful development, and security of our country and our states.
you mentioned that it has a lot to, it's a step in the right direction when it comes to revenue and all of that. Now, looking at this particular issue on ground, how do postponement of state autonomy and new states propose to address potential issues like resource distribution and economic disparities?
The major argument against the autonomy and all kind of things, it has to do with resource allocation. Because if you look at this autonomy that states are asking for, it has to do with issue of resources within your state. If there are resources within your state, you generate those resources in terms of revenue. Then you pay certain derivatives to the government in terms of your, agreed percentage that, that the federal government should take. In my own case, it's not a bad, because we had practiced that before. Before independence, Nigeria operated a regional-based government in such a way that, resources within your domain are exploited by the regional government, and a certain percentage is paid to the federal. So it was when the military intervention came, and especially during Aguiyi Ironsi's period, that was why he unilateralized everything, brought unity government, and everything was centralized. So since then, there have been agitation going on. Let's go back to what we were doing before that and all that. So this is not a new thing. And if you want to look at the country in terms of development and the quality of governance we have experienced in Nigeria, if you compare it to when we operated, that principle of derivation, where regional government generate revenue within their domain and spend as they want, as the need arises, you realize that we had better quality education and all kind of things, better security. Production was, the regional government were competing against each other in terms of industrialization. When you go to Kano, you see those textiles mills that have become moribund. They were very effective during that period. And if you go to the West, you see cocoa, all this Cadbury and all those things. We are using cocoa produced in the West to produce, Cadbury. And you go to the East, you see all kinds of production going on. But because we centralize these things, those industries have died. Because the places where they are located, the federal government, didn't know how these things came about. So they don't even know what it takes to even, sustain them. And that is why they died. So if we go back to that, to that arrangement, it will bring about effective, governance and also development to our country. There will be a lot of job creation because all those things will be revived again. States will not have enough resources to be able to, carry out some of this responsibility effectively. Because as long as it is, the federal government is not looking in that direction in such a way that they can effectively manage those things. It is those regions where these things are domiciled, should be able to take them up and manage them effectively to enhance national development.
Well, Dr. Moses Saleh, I have a lot of questions to ask, but due to our time, we have to wrap it up at this time. But quickly now, one more question quickly. Now, how might the push for autonomy, you mentioned autonomy and, of course, new states affect the presentation of different groups and communities in political system?
The issue of how will it affect when people are asking for something, in a peaceful manner, and if they are denied for too long, exclusion and marginalization, these are the fundamental foundation of conflict and conflict generation.
Very true.
Anywhere you see people having disagreements and they are fighting each other, if you dig deeper, you will find either exclusion, either marginalization, either oppression hiding somewhere as the major factor contributing to that conflict. So if people are asking for peaceful way of liberating themselves by giving us state breathe, we can be able to make meaningful contribution, and you continue to say no, it will get to a point that it will become a violent activity.
Very true.
You know, we have started seeing that in some places.
Very
It will
true.
become a
Very true.
violent. They will now begin to fight themselves, take arms against themselves, begin to destroy their property, killings, and all that. Then at that point, it becomes something that overwhelms the country and all that. So we should be able to look at those things and look at those agitations and address them. Nigeria is a large country. I don't see, even if we add additional 10 or 15, say it's not going to be, it's not a bad idea. You know, it's going to further decentralize the country in such a manner that, you know, bring development even closer to people. All you need to do is to look at how you can, you know, look at our autonomy agitation to reduce that exclusive list to state, so that state can look inward and generate resources for their development. If you don't do that, you know, the way we are right now, there will be a lot of, you know, these are the things fueling a lot of insecurity in the country. So
Yes,
we
it
should be
is.
able to look at these agitations and address them so that, you know, people can be able to make, you know, Nigeria is potentially a great country, so that we can be able to unleash our potentials, you know, to bring about development in our country. So
All right.
in my own case, we should look at it, because you can't govern a country where the population is increasing astronomically and you don't open up spaces for people to operate. It's a dangerous step, because if they don't have spaces to operate, they will channel that energy into something that is not too good, and it's not too good for the country.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Moses Sadley, for that input. And of course, creation of new states is a step in the right direction, for because individuals, we